My niece wanted me to design her wedding. I'm not available for that day.
Sorry, niece. I'm too exclusive for you.
I'm facing a situation and not sure how to handle it. In April of this year, my oldest niece, Dawn, 30, announced that she and her boyfriend would be getting married in September 5th of this year. My niece asked me to please handle all centerpieces and any decor for the wedding, as well as being her maid of honor. I was thrilled and worked my butt off for 4 months. By the way, this comes from Tatted Up Girl, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, it was really hard work, but I pulled it off, and my niece was over the moon with how her wedding turned out. Dawn left all of the decor up to me, saying that I could do what I wanted to, and thankfully, she and everyone else at the wedding loved it. At the reception, my youngest niece, Leah, 18, decided that her oldest sister's wedding was the best time to tell everyone that she and her boyfriend are getting married on Halloween this year. Oh, wow.
Always the worst time to do that at someone else's wedding.
Plus, that's like a month or like a couple months. September 5th to Halloween.
Not really enough notice.
I was busy and had heard her saying something, but didn't really think about it again until this afternoon. Dawn called saying that Leah had called her saying that she had bought her wedding dress. Leah told Dawn that since Dawn makes cakes, she wants her to do the wedding cake, and she loved what I did for Dawn's wedding, so she wants me to do hers as well. While I'm glad to be the person that she wants to decorate her wedding, this brings up a crap load of issues. The issue number 1. 3 months ago, my mother, who is 60, and I booked a trip for out of the town the weekend that Leah has picked for her wedding. Call me selfish, but we have been really looking forward to this trip. Our lives have always been kind of crazy, and the time away is really needed. Issue number 2. I paid for all the crap that I needed to make the centerpieces and to decorate for Dawn's wedding. I told her that it would be my husband and I's wedding gift to her. I paid for everything so she could have really nice stuff that I knew that she couldn't afford on her own, and Dawn was over the moon. At that time, I had the money to do it. 2 weeks before Dawn's wedding, I moved into a new house, then got laid off the next day. My money is tight. I have a family to help support, and Leah told Dawn that she has zero money for decorations and the cake, meaning that she expects Dawn to make the wedding cake, pay for it, and for me to pay for decor and centerpieces. With Dawn and myself just paying for Dawn's wedding, we are all tapped out. She's also expecting my parents to pay for the food since they just paid for the food at Dawn's wedding. Issue number 3. Leah picked October 30th for the day of the wedding. We live in southern Indiana, and weather in the Midwest this time of year can either be rain or even snow. The location of the wedding is at my parents' farm outside. There is nowhere to go if it rains or anything. It is all 100% outside. So, I'm not gonna lie, Leah is and always has been a huge a-hole. She thinks just because she says this is what I want, everyone should hop to. She can be really effing difficult just because. Dawn asked Leah what kind of maid of honor dress she needed to look for, and Leah's answer was whatever. She wants her wedding cake to be Nightmare Before Christmas themed, said her wedding color is navy blue, and doesn't have any thoughts about anything else. So she wants everyone to do everything and come up with it all on her own. And when dealing with Leah, that means that even though she purposefully didn't say what she wanted, what you give her will not be good enough or right, and she will throw a fit. It's the reasons that I had to stop buying her anything for Christmas and her birthday because nothing was good enough and she would freak out, so no more gifts.
Happy birthday. I didn't get you anything you didn't want.
There you go. That's my gift, is not giving you something you're going to throw a tantrum over. So my question, Reddit, is how do I go about talking about all of these issues with Leah? I can't do what she wants. None of us can. While I do want to do for her what I did for Dawn, I'm just not in the place to do it again this soon. If I could talk her into moving the wedding to December and having it at her dad's giant building, I could do what she wants. No one would be in the rain or snow, and my mother and I wouldn't be out of town. So how do I tell her this without her turning it into me just trying to tell her what to do? We do have some relevant comments, and then I want to hear your comments, Dakota. So Hats and Top Coats says, the wedding is at your parents' farm when your mother won't be there? OP says, yep. My niece didn't ask anybody anything. She just started telling everyone when she's getting married. I'm telling Leah Tuesday about the trip and everything that I put in my post. I want her to actually listen and not think that I'm just being a wiener or don't care or something. WorkSafe Account 15 says, maybe your mom could say, listen, I don't feel comfortable having dozens of people at my house when I'm away on vacation. You may use my farm, but not on a weekend when I'm not there. You have to reschedule or find somewhere else. And then watch the whole thing implode when she can't find a venue this late in the game anyway. OP responds to that, I think you're right. My mom is way stronger than me. I cave because I don't want to hurt feelings. But my mom cuts right through the BS. Thaddeus Crane says, wow, does her boyfriend even know that he's getting married? That's funny. And in this timeline, I would just tell her, no, you're busy that weekend, as is your mother, whose farm she's planning on using. And furthermore, it's not in your budget. Your reasons are incredibly reasonable, and your niece sounds like she couldn't handle her sister getting married and being in the spotlight more than her. OP responds to that, I think that's exactly what it is. 2 months before the wedding, Leah set off for boot camp, so for the months leading up to that, she was getting a lot of attention. Then something happened, no one knows the truth, and she got shipped back from boot camp 3 weeks leading up to the wedding. Dawn refused to make Leah a bridesmaid and told her that there was no time for her to get a dress and all that. So of course, she thought Dawn's wedding was the best time to tell everyone that she is getting married. And we do have an update, but oh boy.
She sure sounds like she's not difficult at all.
Not at all, no. Just have it the next year. Just give it a year. Have a whole nother year to put everything together. 2 months is too little time.
Feels super reflexive and impulsive. It's like she was like, oh, well, this person's having a really great wedding, and look, all these people are helping her with it, so now I'm going to demand that they do the exact same thing for me in less than 60 days.
It's like, that's just not how that works, my friend. But we do have an update.
And she got kicked out of boot camp, right?
I guess.
You got to be pretty obstinate to get kicked out of boot camp.
I want to know more of that story. But let's see how she deals with this difficult woman. So update. First of all, I'd like to thank everyone who commented on my original post. In my everyday life, I'm the problem solver, the fixer. So I was looking at this entire situation as a problem that I needed to solve. I knew that if I asked you guys what to do, you would all just see it from a perspective that I was just too close to see. Thank you all for showing me that not only was any of this not my problem, but also that it was not my responsibility to do anything at all in this situation. Clearly, I have crap that I needed to work on and keep working on. My husband has helped me over the 11 years that we've been together. I used to be like a field mouse and absolutely terrified to say no to people, sometimes even crying over it. Thanks to the people on here who suggested it, I'm actually going to start practicing saying, standing up for myself and letting no be a complete sentence. My husband said that I can practice on him whenever I needed to, and we will start working on that today. How sweet. Okay, so the update. Sunday night, I called my mom and told her everything. I pointed out that we will be gone on the weekend Leah was wanting to get married on and said that for once, I will be putting my foot down. We will be going on that trip. My mom laughed and said not to worry and that Leah has lost her dang mind if she thinks that any of us will pay for anything. I told her to call my dad before my sister had a chance to lie to him. My dad said the same thing as mom did and decided to call Leah's dad to find out what was going on. Leah's dad said that he told Leah that since he just bought her a car and his business is getting ready to shut down for the winter, he could not afford a wedding for her this year. He told her to put the wedding off till around May of next year, and that would be enough time. And Leah lost her crap. Are we surprised?
No, 0% surprised.
Not at all. Her dad said that after a lot of screaming, she finally yelled, "I'll pay for it myself." And apparently in Leah's mind, that meant getting all of us to pay for it.
Right. I'll pay for it myself means I'll find other people to pay for this.
Yeah, come on. My dad said that he needed to tell Leah that not a single one of us will ever pay for her to get married, ever. And if she just absolutely has to, she can do it at the courthouse. Later that night, Leah's dad called my dad back and said that he sat Leah down and demanded to know why she was pushing for a wedding so soon. That is true. That's a good problem to address as well. I didn't even think of that.
I think it's that jealousy or like seeing someone else have it.
Yeah, she just needs her moment. Turns out that her boyfriend is joining the Navy and they thought it would be a good idea to get married. Always the best idea. Oh, yeah. Her dad told her that none of us are paying anything for her wedding and she would have to go to the courthouse if she had to, but there will be no wedding this year. After an hour of yelling, Leah said fine, and she will just move the wedding to next year. But honestly, if her boyfriend is going away, I can totally see her finding a new guy while he is gone and the whole wedding thing going away anyway. Thank you all so much for helping me. Leia's finally got it through to her that no one will be paying for her wedding, and she agreed to put it off. I'm going to work on myself and have an awesome trip. Go you, OP.
Go you.
We do have some relevant comments coming right up, but do you have any comments of your own, Dakota?
Yeah, I mean, like, just go on the trip. Like, you know, if you've planned on doing something for a long time and someone comes around and says, hey, like, do this thing for me, but it's like a demand and I'm not nice about it and I'm annoying, like, don't feel at all obligated to cancel your trip.
It's such short notice because, I mean, I'm guessing that for the other wedding, she probably got so much time beforehand to figure everything out. So
A lot longer than less than 2 months.
yeah, and she probably asked instead of just being like, hey, you're doing this and you're paying for it all. You crazy girl. We do have some relevant comments. Deleted says, thanks for the update. She sounds like the type to cheat on her boyfriend when he hasn't even been at boot camp for a week. OP says she has cheated on him a lot. Oh, man. Nixtaboss says, wow, effing tell him. Don't let him get married. She sounds crazy. And OP responds to that. The effed up thing is that she tells him herself. She cheats on him, tells him about it, and says that he can't get mad because she was honest with him.
Yeah, sure. In backwards, upside down nonsense land, that makes sense.
Oh my gosh. Why does the boyfriend want to marry Leia after all that? He has a very low self-esteem and self-worth. He thinks that Leia is the only person who will ever love him. Dawn has told him many times that he could find someone better. Wow. And we do actually have a second update. Would you look at that?
I hope it's him finding someone better.
I hope so too. That is so cruel of her to do to him. My goodness. So, update number 2. Well, a few people wanted an update to the update, so I thought I'd let everyone know that Dawn and I found out today that Leia got married on Tuesday. Exactly what we want to happen. Absolutely no one knew about it but Leia's mom and my sister. Dawn called her today to try to get her to talk Leia out of the whole marriage thing altogether. Dawn said to her mom that there's no way that she could think it's a good idea for Leia to get married, and my sister replied, well, it's kind of late for that. Dawn asked her mom what the heck that meant, and she said that they snuck off on Tuesday and got married at the courthouse.
I mean, it is what everyone told them to do.
I guess. She's like, okay, fine. I guess we're getting married one way or another. Gotta lock this down.
I feel so bad for that guy.
My sister tried to act like Leia had no choice since it's my fault that none of us would pay for her wedding. What?
Sure, whatever. Why do I have to pay my taxes? Oh, it's because of that one fish that crawled out of the ocean. That's whose fault it really is.
It's their fault. How dare they? But I dare you to go to iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever your favorite podcast app is, and search OK Storytime. Because you know what you're going to find there?
Over 2,000 episodes with stories just like this.
So go on over there. But after we finish up this story, there's a little bit more, but do you have any final comments?
Some people can't be saved.
Yeah.
It's hard, but like, you've done what you can for that guy, being like, you can find someone else. And he's like, no, I don't think I can.
Hopefully they can just be like a good family support system to him. Maybe not so much to her. And then, you know, hopefully even though she's terrible to him, everyone else can be good.
Everyone else in your life is great except your wife.
But there is a tiny bit more to the story. So apparently I somehow have the power to tell my parents not to pay for a wedding. And since I thought that my trip was more important and refused to let mom cancel, what was Leia supposed to do? Dawn went off on her mom and stuck up for me, but I couldn't care less if she is blaming me. I cut my sister out of my life 6 years ago, so anything that she says means nothing in my life. Leia says that they will have a real wedding next year, and Dawn told her mom that when she does have it, not to ask her for a cake or me to decorate. And Dawn said that we will not help in any way, and she told me that she's gonna beat me if I help, but I told her not to worry about it. So yeah, that's that, I guess. Hope my sister can pay for the divorce. Dang, man. I think this is for some context, like previous context. So I make handmade gifts for people that I love, and I used to make my niece handmade things for her all the time. Until one day she let it slip that everything I've ever made for her, she has sold online.
What?
Wow. She told me that I should be flattered because everything sold for a good chunk of change. That was 6 years ago, and she doesn't understand why I no longer give her any gifts at all. She completely broke my heart. The one that really broke my heart was when I made her a custom coffee table out of a door from our grandma's house. That door was the last thing that we had from the house, and now it's in some stranger's house. Wow. Someone then asked, not to be weird, but I saw that you had written about her a while back. Is she still married? Are there kids? LMAO. OP responded, that's a different. She's actually married to someone else and she can't have kids. Okay.
Well, at least that guy is not married to her anymore. Wow. Sounds like just about the most selfish piece of work I've ever heard.
That is so insane.
You should feel flattered that I sold all of the gifts you got me because they sold for good money. They weren't like Hot Wheels or something. They were like thoughtful, handmade gifts. What a garbage bag of a person.
Ask for all of that money back.
Yeah, I'd be like, that's actually my income now. I'm so flattered. Are you going to give me the money? Well, yeah, just don't bother with this person.
What a terrible, terrible person. But that is the end of that story.
I had to walk away from my sick father. He never appreciated me.
Oh, boy. I'm sorry.
Get ready to get sad, everybody, probably. I, 26 male, have two sisters, 18 and 23, from the same mom and dad in their 50s. When I was 16, my parents went through a messy divorce, which resulted in my sisters staying with my mom and me staying with my dad. By the way, this comes from user AH Layton, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, my dad is disabled and has been unable to work due to a long list of medical issues since I was 16. He has kidney failure and is currently on dialysis while waiting for a transplant. This has meant that I have been looking after him in a variety of caretaker ways for a decade now. Throughout this time, his contact with my two sisters has been minimal. He has, in the past, allowed my eldest sister to claim benefits that she was not entitled to by claiming to be a carer for my father, amongst others. She has at no point in her life provided care for my dad. This caused many fights between my dad and I, as I felt he was allowing her to commit fraud just so he could feel like he was helping her. I was recently contacted by his doctor, who told me that my dad was no longer on the transplant list to receive the kidney transplant he needs. Apparently, his health is now so poor that they don't know for sure if he'll survive general anesthetics for the operation. That's terrible. I was told that a major factor for this was his poor diet, which was exacerbating his existing health issues. Hearing this, my wife and I decided to move back in with my dad to try and get him onto a healthier diet to hopefully prepare his body for the transplant he needs. After we moved in, I was going through his most recent letters when I discovered a letter informing him that my youngest sister had applied for a grant for young carers as a result of caring for him. My dad is lucky to see my sister once a month, let alone the 16 hours a week this grant requires. I confronted him and he said he was just trying to help her out in any way he could. This again led to a massive fight, as currently me and my wife are the only family members actually supporting him. My sisters do nothing for him. They are both adults, and yet neither have lifted a single finger once to help him. And yet here he is again, essentially committing fraud to help them out. We can't help but feel taken for granted and simply unappreciated. Okay, I understand that. Totally. I agree. This is fraud. It's also a dad helping out his daughters that he's estranged from, essentially. And I guarantee you, if you applied for these grants, he would help you. I don't think he would say, I'm not going to help you with this. I just don't think you're doing anything like that, which is fine. Maybe you don't need it. I don't know if being angry at him for helping your sisters in a sort of deceitful way is really what you're mad about. I don't know. It's just so complicated.
I could see that. Like, there's some other things going on, maybe some resentment from past things.
There's grief and there's, the stress of like his health is failing him. It's like, I don't know if he knows that your sisters are just using this money. I don't know, but there's a lot going on here. We can't help but feel taken for granted and simply unappreciated. We do everything we possibly can for him. We sacrifice time, energy, and money to ensure he has a more comfortable life. But time and time again, he chooses to focus his energy on helping my sisters cheat their way to funds and benefits they don't deserve. He's never once asked them to help him, so the burden of responsibility for his care rests entirely on our shoulders, despite the fact that of the 3 siblings, I'm the only one not currently receiving any benefit related to his care. Are you applying for them?
Yeah.
Are you actively seeking out these benefits?
Good questions.
Because if you are, and he's being like, no, then that's crazy. But if you're not, and he doesn't have any idea that you would want them, then that's more of a you problem.
Yeah, you can't be too mad at him for that.
We are now at the point where we are considering pulling all our support, financial and physical, and leaving his care entirely to the two women who are actually benefiting from quote-unquote providing it. Would I be the a-hole for withdrawing support from my father? Consensus is not the a-hole. However, have we had conversations? Have we talked? Before you press the big red nuclear bomb button, just like talk out all of your feelings with your dad.
Yeah, I feel like we're missing information for this decision. Like maybe there's more to this that we're just not seeing or something.
It feels like it shouldn't be like a should I cut my dad off? It should be like, should I confront my sisters for like basically like sort of manipulating him into committing fraud for them? Because of course he's going to do it. It's his daughters and he's been estranged from them. Like he wants them to think good of him in any way that he could, I'm sure. I would say if you do this without communicating to your father and also like applying for these same benefits that it sounds like you are completely eligible for in a non-fraudulent way. Like if you don't do all of that before you cut off your dad, you're the a-hole. And you'll be the a-hole to yourself more than anyone. Because if time goes by and your dad passes and then you look back and you regret doing this, that's you've poisoned yourself. Why would you do that? Comments. As someone who is highly familiar with this family dynamic and has read a lot of books about this, let me rephrase the question. Would I be the a-hole if I withdraw my unappreciated long-term support from my dad, who has been deliberately neglecting me the entire time while passing all my benefits to my absent but entitled siblings who don't even see him often? Not the a-hole. It is not your fault that he is knowingly applying double standards, rewarding the neglect of his favorites and grooming them to be entitled and punishing and invalidating the sacrifice of his designated scapegoat. I didn't see any of that.
I wonder if this comment is actually getting this from this story or is projecting their own experience onto it, filling in the gaps.
Yeah, I didn't see any explicit examples of like neglect or like him taking advantage. It really seems more like your problem comes from your sisters getting these benefits when you could get them.
Yeah, I do feel like there's just more to the story. The first part of it before the question felt too short.
Let's keep going. He can't have it both ways. It's time to set things straight. If he truly appreciates your efforts, then he should have given the benefits to you. This is the problem. He didn't give the benefits.
Yeah.
The sisters applied for the benefits, and then he like signed off on like, yeah, they are doing this stuff. So it's not like he has like a pool of benefits to give out. They went and applied for them, and he lied on the paperwork. In that story, I never heard him tell OP, I won't help you get benefits for being my carer.
It does really feel like you said earlier, like she should be mad at the sisters.
Yeah, I feel like that's where all of OP's frustrations really are at, is that he feels like I'm being not acknowledged because I'm not getting benefits while the sisters who are doing nothing are. When really it has nothing to do with what you're doing for your dad. It has to do with your dad wanting to get brownie points with his daughters. I'm sure if you expressed you wanted benefits, maybe he doesn't think you need them. Maybe he doesn't think you want them.
Yeah, especially if you've been vocal about the fraud that's involved and not liking that, then he's probably like, she probably doesn't want to be involved. I won't get her in trouble.
Right. If he wants to give the benefit to others, then you should pass the responsibility to them. The ones who answered you're the a-hole or everyone sucks are probably not from toxic families with toxic parents who are neglecting but quick to demand the scapegoat child's perfection and time, energy, and money. It's easy to use compassion in taking care of the elderly to guilt someone else into staying in an unfair setup when it doesn't involve any sacrifice on your part. Edit to address a comment below. My conclusion is based on the information presented. He's neglecting of himself while he feels entitled to the designated scapegoat's time, money, and energy to cater for his needs while giving nothing in return and choosing to glorify and prioritize the other children instead. That's a neglect and lack of gratitude. It's not extrapolation, it's deduction. No, stop it, guy. You're deducing. Regardless of what it is, you're filling in gaps that are not clear. Okay, so here we go. This I might agree with a little more. It's not about whether the actual monetary value is big. It's about the unfair treatment, invalidation, and double standards. We all have difficulties and insecurities, but they're not an excuse to deliberately treat others horribly. Again, didn't really see a whole lot of horrible treatment.
Yeah.
I didn't hear any conversation or communication happening between OP and their father. None. I heard no expression of these feelings or thoughts between these two people. Until I hear that, I don't think you should cut off anything. Work out your issues with your dad. This is all an emotional problem.
Especially if he's having so many health issues and possibly at the end of his life, right? Like, this is time to not just like stop communication before having a conversation first. Like, start with communication before you decide to stop communication.
And then like that commenter being like that, it's like, oh, he's being gaslit and taking care of the elderly. It's like, not even that. Like, it's just like, that's your dad. And if you make the decision to like pull yourself out of his life when he needs help, like, and then he passes, it's going to bother you forever. So in a selfish way, you shouldn't cut him off because it's going to only impact you in a worse way, especially because so far it sounds like you're going to go, oh my God, I didn't even really have an issue with my dad. I had an issue with my sisters. Oh my God, and I cut off my dad.
I really hope that OP figures that out. Let's find out.
Not the a-hole. I'm not sure I'd be able to stop caring for him, but the petty in me would be contacting whoever portions out those grants to let them know the truth. Pretty effed up that they're comfortable taking that money when it should be going to people who are actually carers and who need it, which is true. OP says, exactly my thoughts too, says another commenter. If it was only them it impacted, I'd have reported it immediately, but unfortunately there's a chance he'd lose his benefits too as a result of it. Personally, I just can't wrap my head around the kind of person who's okay with taking money meant for carers with zero intention to actually care for anyone. The entitlement is unreal. OP comments, I will say that during uni, I did qualify for a low-income support grant as my dad was my sole parent supporting me. Mom wanted nothing to do with me. So I did receive that in help. That's about it, though. I know that I have no responsibility to help and that ultimately I'm only doing this because I love him, but that's what makes the decision all the harder. I've been the only one willing to help, so I really worry for how much long-term damage will be done to his health as a result of pulling support, which is why you shouldn't do it. Did you hear exactly what you just said? I love him. I really worry what kind of long-term damage would be done if I pull my support, so don't, because that will eat a hole through you forever. The current boundary we set with him was to tell my youngest sister that he won't assist her in getting the carer support that she applied for unless she actually comes around and helps him. That was yesterday, and he still hasn't spoken with her. If he can't do that, then the balance of support or don't support would definitely shift more towards don't support. We are comfortable financially and are no longer students, so are no longer eligible for any financial support. I have never received any benefits for his care, though, due to being in full-time education at the time. The rules around this may have changed now. I have repeatedly asked my sisters to help my dad, with specific reference to the benefits they receive as a result of his disability. The response every time has been, F off, this is between me and dad, I don't give an F what you think. Paraphrased, but not far off, which makes sense because those are the sisters they were raised by the mom who didn't want anything to do with OP. So sisters probably have a pretty negatively impacted bias about their brother. I wish he would convince them to help him financially, but it'll never happen. He's refused to in the past as he sees that as hurting them. He does feel guilt at not providing for them, but they lived with my mother, who was and is comfortably middle/upper middle class with no concerns for money whatsoever, so they're not dependent. I've only received a grant for low-income support for uni, as he was the only parent I had supporting me, nothing else. My eldest sister has also received this by putting him down as her sole parent, despite living with my well-off mother, as well as a car that he receives for his care. I was expecting to receive this car, significantly cheaper rental and insurance, compared to normal, and then use it for us while I live with him. But he instead decided to give it to my sister when she passed her test first, and then refused to take it back and give it to me. This car is supposed to be exclusively for his care and nothing else. In the 4 years she has had it, she has never used it for him once, although she does pay the rental for it. The support my youngest sister is requesting won't impact me, but will be another instance of him willing to bend over backwards and break the law to help them, despite nothing in return. I will say that my attitude towards them getting benefits they don't deserve and aren't entitled to is definitely impacted by our upbringing. Post-divorce, I lived with my dad, whose sole income was benefits. We lived in poverty but made do as best as we could. My mother, however, is fairly successful in her career and lives a very comfortable life with enough of her own income, let alone combined with her husband, to give my sisters everything they could want and more. She has contributed nothing to me financially since the age of 16, and was even claiming childcare from my dad for my sisters, despite us being in poverty. So it sounds like your issue is not with your dad at all.
Wake up, OP!
Your dad is a human who wants his daughters to like him, to love him. He has been estranged from them by his ex-wife, who hates him and you, apparently, and has probably been poisoning them for years. So it's not really he doesn't appreciate me or he doesn't care for me. It's he is blinded by the ceaseless need to be loved by his own daughters.
Exactly.
That has literally nothing to do with you. So please don't cut off his support if you love him and care about him just because he can't help but help his daughters when they ask him to do things. Anyway, with that in mind, I see them trying to feign poverty and pretend to be poor despite being comfy upper middle class as sickening. As for my father enabling that behavior and what it's gotten him, one daughter won't even call him on his birthday and another calls him twice a month, and that's it. I want him to actually stand up to them and go, if you're willing to claim money off the back of my illness, can you come help me with it? As otherwise, the entirety of that caregiving burden falls on me and my wife. And quite frankly, we're sick of it being that way. We have an update from 4 years later. 4 years is more than enough time to have a conversation.
Hopefully that happened.
All of these things. And, it could be that OP has expressed all of this. But OP has not let us know.
You gotta talk to us now. Communicate to us.
Every last thought and feeling that you're having about this should be expressed to your dad. And that's all I have to say. And I hope I'm about to read that that's exactly what happened.
Me too.
4 years later. I remember this post as my dad's birthday recently passed, and I thought I might as well give an update even though no one asked. January 2023, my father passed away from complete kidney failure, which is terrible. It wasn't a surprise to me. His health had been in decline and a transplant wasn't going to happen. The rest of the family, though, were shocked. The last time he spoke to anyone, I showed him the 7-week scan of my now 2-year-old son, his first and only grandchild. We'd rushed to get the earliest scan we could, knowing he didn't have much time. My son looked like a seahorse tadpole, but at least he got to see him. He cried when I showed him, and we had a short talk about fatherhood before exhaustion took over. He fell asleep and never woke up. Dang. Silver lining, right? Got it in at the last second. Hey, you're going to be a grandfather. We're having a child. He has thoughts. We're talking about fatherhood. This is the last conversation you have. That's kind of beautiful.
Absolutely.
I asked him not to tell anyone since we were still early and didn't want to jinx it. He said, I'll take it to the grave, and passed away 3 days later. He kept his word. I think seeing the scan and having that moment made him pass away peacefully and happy. As for my sisters, they never changed. I let it go. I knew I couldn't change my dad, and he was on borrowed time. For his birthday that year, we rented a canal boat since he'd always wanted one. He crashed it almost immediately, and he said, yes, I've always wanted to crash a canal boat. They gave him less and less consideration, ignoring him completely on what turned out to be his last birthday. No visit, no call, not even a text. He was devastated and reduced contact with them, though he never stopped helping them financially. When they found out he was passing, they rushed to his side and stayed until he passed, but like before, it was too little too late. He was already unconscious. They hadn't shown urgency when he was first admitted, only showing up when I told them he had chosen to end life support. I'd been told the day he was admitted, over 2 weeks earlier, that he might not survive, and I believed it. I'd seen him in these situations before, and this time felt different. The rest of the family still thought he would recover and didn't treat him as a priority because they took it for granted. And they're going to be haunted by that forever. So they get what they deserve. And you deserve to listen to full episodes with stories just like this on Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Apple Podcasts. Wherever you listen to podcasts, really, all you got to do is search OK Storytime. And there you have over 2,000 episodes to listen to until your ears fall off.
Believe it or not, there are some that are happier than this one.
I feel like it was bittersweet because it's like he did. Clearly, I don't think he pulled his support. I think he stayed there for his dad. He probably realized, all right, this is a problem I have with my sisters. I like that. That did not happen.
It seemed like it went as well as it could have for the situation.
Still don't know if they really talked it out fully. I would assume they did. Yeah, and at this point, I think you move forward. You just go low, no contact with your sisters. I'm focusing on my life with my wife, with our child.
Or if it's still a problem, like still have the chance to talk to them about it too. If you really need to still have that conversation, then go right ahead.
Eventually, my dad asked me if he was passing away. Everyone else had been giving him false hope, mostly for themselves. So I had to tell him, yes, you're going to pass away soon. And that was not an easy conversation. He passed surrounded by family who barely gave him their time when he was alive. My sisters definitely regret how they treated him, but it's too late. We were civil at the funeral, but haven't spoken since. I scattered my share of his ashes at the end of the canal he never got to see, My sisters turned theirs into jewelry. I miss him every day, especially as his grandson looks so much like him. It's a shame things never got resolved with his daughters while he was alive, but I think he passed a happy man, and that's enough for me. And that is the end of that story. You got to find the silver lining where you can find it, and it looks like he has.